On August 13th, 2025, YouTube is implementing a new system that will not only change the website as we know it, but also affect millions of its users, possibly including you. Today, I'm going to be answering the biggest questions you might have about this, from the information and methods YouTube will use to verify your age, to whether the system can be bypassed or not. I'm also going to share my thoughts on the entire thing and what I think it means for the future of YouTube. So let's start at the beginning. On July 29th, 2025, YouTube posted an article to their official blog, and it was titled, "Extending Our Built-in Protections to More Teens on YouTube." I'm not going to read the whole thing here. If you want to do that, I'll leave a link to it in the description, but I am going to go over the key points that were mentioned, because there is quite a lot to unpick. In my opinion, these are the most important bits from the post. The changes will primarily affect US teens. YouTube will use machine learning age estimation. The machine learning will affect a small set of users in the US to estimate their age, so that teens are treated as teens and adults as adults. The system is already in place in some countries and will be rolled out even more after its release in the US. AI will be used to determine whether a viewer is over 18 or under 18, and the data YouTube will use to determine an age includes types of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos they've watched, or the longevity of their account. If YouTube determines a user to be under 18, they will impose certain protections, which include disabling personalized advertising, turning on digital well-being tools, and adding safeguards to recommendations, including limiting repetitive views of some kinds of content. If the system wrongly determines a user to be under 18, the user will have the option to verify their correct age, such as by using a credit card or government ID. This article honestly impressed me because, despite there being a lot to talk about, I still find it quite vague, and I'll explain why in a moment. So let's start by unpicking what we've got here. Of course, it says the changes will affect a small sample of US teens, and I'm curious to know how many, because there isn't an exact figure given. Alarm bells immediately went off in my head when I read words like machine learning and AI, because while technology has come a long way in the last few years, these automated processes, especially YouTube's, are far from perfect. Whether it's YouTubers wrongly having their channels terminated or being demonetized, or things like comment bots that post links to illegal material and inappropriate adverts with women doing nefarious things on camera being able to bypass YouTube's safety systems. I mentioned a second ago that I found some of this article vague, and that's mainly because of words like includes and such as. If the system wrongly determines a user to be under 18, the user will have the option to verify their correct age, such as by using a credit card or a government ID. To me, this suggests that at some point in time, there will be more ways than just this to verify your age. And if I'm right about that, I'm curious to know why YouTube hasn't mentioned these other methods. In regards to the protections for viewers under 18, they once again use the word including, which leads me to believe that if YouTube determines a user to be under 18, there will be more protections than just the ones listed here. Bit of a side note here, I should mention that if you're a YouTuber and you're earning money on your videos, YouTube will verify your age because you need to be 18 to get your videos monetized. To do this, you can do one of three things. 1. Do a video verification, which involves filming yourself following prompts like turning your head. 2. Building up viewing history on your channel. Or 3. Just sending Google a picture of your ID. For some reason, I've had to personally do this 2 or 3 times now. A few months ago, I got a pop-up saying something like, "We're not sure of your age, please verify it." I suppose this is also evidence to not fully trust machine learning systems. But anyway, I got myself verified again, and all is well. I do understand why you need to verify your age to earn money on YouTube. I think that's fair, and alongside monetization, there's also some other features that you won't get access to if you don't verify your age. However, this list generally applies to uploading videos, not viewing them. So going back to the list of protections that YouTube mentioned in the article, I don't really think these ones would apply if you don't verify your age. But I do think it's worth keeping in mind YouTube's use of the word including, and I would not be surprised at all if the company announced the inclusion of even more protections at some point in the near future. YouTube once again uses the word include in relation to the signals that will determine a viewer's age. So even though they've got a list, I once again wouldn't be surprised if they end up using more data and more user information to determine their age. I'm going to assume the biggest question on your mind right now is why? Why is YouTube doing all of this? And why now? Why didn't they just do it all the way back when the website was launched in 2005? Well, in this blog post, they also say, back in February, we shared that we would soon introduce technology that would distinguish between younger viewers and adults. They've actually hyperlinked the word February, and clicking it, sure enough, brings you to another post from February 2025, written by Neil Mohan, the CEO of YouTube himself. What really frustrates me about this is that the article is about Neil's big bets for 2025 and doesn't even mention age verification until the last section. And when it does, it's incredibly brief and vague, and is only mentioned because it's a section talking about the topic of AI, not a section about age verification. I am going to read the whole paragraph because I think it's important to see what YouTube had to say about this back then and how it compares to what's happening now. It says, "We're also laser focused on protecting our youngest users. That's why we built YouTube Kids and rolled out supervised accounts. That's why we've invested in the learning and education experience, improving the way videos are shown in educational tools, making it easy to learn more about topics in a video, and offering creators a way to produce courses. And that's why we'll use machine learning in 2025 to help us estimate a user's age, to help provide the best and most age-appropriate experiences and protections." That is literally it. There is no definitive explanation anywhere here as to why YouTube is making these changes. Nothing! Not even a link to an external website or article. The only reasoning we get is this sentence: "We're also laser focused on protecting our youngest users." I've sort of got to hand it to YouTube. It's pretty brazen to make a significant change to a website like YouTube and then not give any concrete explanation as to why it's happening. Fortunately, I think I do have the answers, but unfortunately, they're incredibly depressing. If you're watching from the UK, you will have experienced this firsthand, but if you're in the US or elsewhere like most of my viewers are, you might have only seen this in the news that the UK has introduced the Internet Age Verification System, where you have to prove you're over 18 to visit certain websites. Clearly the US and Australia have taken inspiration from the UK because YouTube made their blog post just 4 days after the law went into effect in the UK. As a British person living in the UK, I apologise on behalf of the country because having to verify your age by using AI to scan your face or uploading a picture of your ID to a website you've never heard of is completely ridiculous. It's dystopian, it's unnecessary, it's an invasion of your privacy, and it could lead to one of the biggest data leaks the world has ever seen. I can't help but think of the TV show Black Mirror when I see or hear anything about this. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I'm sure there must be one where this exact type thing happens. Anyway, I got myself a bit worked up there. Let's talk about another big question that's on everyone's minds, and that is this system foolproof? My answer to that is no, but it might be difficult to get around it. I will talk about YouTube specifically in just a second, but for context, I want to mention that as of the time of me making this video, I can confidently say that age verification has a long way to go if it's going to be completely foolproof. Since the UK launched the system on July 25th, 2025, I will admit that I have been on websites that I won't mention here and can't mention here because I'll get demonetized, but you know the ones I'm talking about. And there was no age verification in sight. Nothing. Some of them still just have a pop-up saying, "Are you over 18?" to which you say, "Yes, I am." And some have genuinely nothing. In case the British government is watching this video, for the record, yes, I am over 18. Granted, one of these websites was a smaller one with less users. It wasn't one of the big three, but this is still shocking when you consider that failure to comply with the system can lead to fines of up to £18 million, or roughly $24 million. Anyway, bringing this back to YouTube specifically, of course, everyone's going to say the number one way to bypass this system is by using a VPN. And while I haven't tried this personally with YouTube, it probably will work. But I can't say that with 100% confidence. And the reason I can't is because YouTube already has a VPN detection system. And if it detects that you are using a VPN, you'll get a pop-up that asks you to turn it off. It's absolute insanity. And the most ironic thing about it is that YouTubers have been getting brand deals or sponsorships with VPN companies for years. I'd argue that when a YouTuber says this video is sponsored by, most of the time it'll be the name of a VPN company that finishes that sentence. Ultimately, as I talk more and more about this, a shocking realisation punches me in the face. You and a lot of other people might think that all of this has happened quite quickly or come completely out of nowhere, but it actually all started back in 2019 when YouTube was fined for violating COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. That year, YouTube told creators that they would need to mark their videos as not made for kids or made for kids, with the latter having certain restrictions imposed on them, such as no comments, no notifications, and no personalised ads, meaning the creator would potentially earn less revenue. As a YouTuber, and as someone who has dreamed of being one since I was a kid, I'm feeling pretty sad about this whole thing. The people who claim that these online safety laws and systems are there to protect children are, in my opinion, complete liars. In actuality, I believe the government just wants as much personal data as possible, so YouTube isn't entirely to blame for all of this. But man, this website has fallen so far from grace that it is just unbelievable. People have been complaining about issues with the platform for years, including me of course, whether it's ads, comment bots, specific YouTubers, but nothing is as big as this. I posted a poll on my community tab asking my viewers, should YouTube have an age verification system? And as you can see, only 4% said yes, 72% said no, and 22% said it's more complicated than just yes or no. Maybe I should have put better options, but only 4% of voters saying a flat out yes to age checks is pretty telling to me. YouTube's original slogan, broadcast yourself, is nothing but a distant memory at this point, and I am beyond curious and admittedly a bit worried for what the future holds. I'm absolutely going to make more videos about this because there's just so much to talk about and I would love your input. So please leave a comment and let me know what I should talk about in my next videos. But with that being said, I'd like to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for watching Beyond the Internet. I'll see you again soon.